Leah was famous for, psychological / verbal abuse to my wife, who was 9 months pregnant. It was the most horrific experience of my existence. To see another human being scream at a pregnant woman, 9 months pregnant, ready to have a baby at any moment, of you're doing a crappy job. You don't know what you're doing. You're a stupid person. Get out of my house. Get out of my life. Go away. Do whatever. Just don't do it around me right now because you're stupid and you're pregnant. And that's Leah Remini in a nutshell of how she treated my wife when she was pregnant, when she was, 9 months pregnant, ready to have a baby at any given moment. And it's abhorrent. It's the only word for it. When my wife, her mother was passing away, she was in that, state of, I'm going to check out pretty soon, which is very sad and unfortunate. Obviously, my wife was devastated. And my wife was also very pregnant at the time. And Melinda's sister was also around, who also worked for Leah as an assistant. And they were going to the hospital on a daily basis to check in with their mother and make sure everything was okay. Leah would go out of her way to make my wife and my wife's sister feel stupid for not doing their normal day-to-day routine jobs with a smile on their face. She would make them both cry. She would make them both completely aggravated, make them feel horrible about themselves and about just being in general. I mean, your mother's dying. You need a moment to take a break, to take a breath, to do whatever. You don't need the person that you're working for to step all over you and make you feel stupid about every move that you're making. This got so bad that upon my mother-in-law's death, we were at the hospital. They were at the hospital. I was unfortunately a little bit late to the hospital, so I missed the actual passing, which obviously I regret. My wife and her sister and the rest of their family didn't miss that, and they saw this horrible event take place, and, that happened. We all came back to my house, and, everybody's obviously upset and doing what they're doing, and Leah comes over to my house, a house that also she hated for no apparent reason. That's a different story for maybe a little bit later. She came in and at first was consoling and kind of did the right thing, but quickly she turned into the evil person she is. And she started screaming at my wife about some work-related issue, something to do with, I don't even know what. It just kind of went beyond me that how could she do this at this moment? How does another human do this? And then she looked at Melinda's sister, my wife's sister, who worked for her as an assistant, and started yelling at her and screaming at her about the fact that she forgot to do a simple task at work earlier that day before her mother had passed away. The simple task was to upload music onto her daughter's iPod, to put music onto an iPod so that after daycare's over, little Miss Sophia can go dance and sing with mommy. And she screamed at her to the point of me having to excuse her out of my house to say, Leah, I think you need to leave. You need to go now. Look, there is something I missed on this whole issue. My wife and I had our second child, and she decided one day to send me an email, Leah did, about how awful my wife was during the whole entire pregnancy. Just 2-page email, I still have it, of how terrible my wife was while she was pregnant, the horrible things she did while she worked for her while she was pregnant, the crying, the waste of time, just on. And then really the last couple paragraphs are how bad she is and how she couldn't believe that I could stay married to such a person, that I should absolutely, without a doubt, just leave her because she's an awful human being. This is her describing my wife of 20 some odd years at the time. I was appalled by the communication. And what's worse is a few weeks later, when she was in a moment of upset, she decides to cop to the fact that she's been jealous of the relationship because she knows she can never have that kind of thing, that we have true love, and she doesn't.